I'm about to show you the exact framework that I used to collect over $1,000 in commission in just 3 days. So I'm just going to walk you through step by step exactly what it looks like, and not only what I say, but how I say it. So before we get into the framework itself, I want to preface that the first thing we want to look at is the mindset. It's not just the words, it's not only what we say, but how we say it. If you join me right here, as you can see, number one, here's the setter commission and then cash collected. So if we go into the script itself, the most important thing is how we come across, right? And so from the get-go, our goal is to set the frame, is to control the call. So as soon as we call them, we want to sound like we know them, right? For example, hey Josh, what's going on, brother? They'd be like, oh, nothing much. Who's this? They're like, dude, it's Alex with Dan's team, man, at blank business. Yeah, man, I just saw your application came through like 5 minutes ago, maybe. Just want to give you a quick call, super chill, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, just to see where you're at with things, see if we can even help you out. If we can, just show you what the next steps look like. If we can't, totally cool. Obviously, we can't work with everyone, but yeah, man, sound good? Yeah, man, that's fine. So before we get too far ahead, I want us to understand why we put so much emphasis on like setting the frame, why this is so important, right? So I actually have this doc over here that I made, that kind of helps you understand why we set the frame. This prevents them from trauma dumping, right? So if you jump on a call, someone has an issue, they want to work with you, they can sit there for an hour and just talk about all the problems, right? You don't want that to happen. And so, yeah, speaking from experience. So again, that's why we say just super quick, super chill, 5-10 minutes maybe, just to see where you're at. And so this kind of gives them the idea that, hey, you're not just going to jump in, buy our program, and like go. That's not how that works, right? So you have to control the frame. You want to set the authority and show that, hey, this is like, you have to come through me. Next part is the discovery, right? So that's where we go into like, hey, so like what's got you looking into the XYZ business model, man? They're like, oh, well, I just saw that it was a good way to make money. I wanted to do this, or I don't want to go to college. It's like, okay, man, well, I guess like what, just so I understand, like what's your situation looking like at the moment? Are you working? Are you in school? And then they can go about their answer. The whole point of us going into this is understanding their situation. We are pre-qualifying the prospect, right? So we're kind of getting a gauge on whether they're working, whether they're in school, whether they're 15, 16 years old or they're 25 years old, and they're definitely qualified. So again, we're subtly probing to see if they can actually afford to work with us. Do they have a job? Are they 18 plus? Like, you don't just want to ask if they have money right away, right? That's horrible. Next part is the goals. We want to go into what matters to them, right? Like why they're really on this phone call. So I'm working, I have a job that I don't like. This is just not for me, blah, 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 whatever. You could be like, well, I guess in terms of goals, man, like what are you trying to accomplish with all this? Like what's the big picture for you? What's the vision? So it kind of gives them an opportunity to open up on like what they want to do with this specific business model. What are they actually trying to achieve in life? Remember, like it's usually less about the business model itself and more about like what the business model allows them to do, right? Like no one cares how they can make 15, 20K a month. They just want to know that they can make that amount of money so they can go out and do whatever they want, get that car, go on vacation, live the lifestyle they want. That's the whole point. And so your goal is to get to that thing, like what the real reason is. You want to understand why this thing is important to them. We ask, okay, man, like why 10K a month specifically, right? They'll be like, oh, well, my family, or I grew up like this, or this X, Y, and Z, right? So you get the deeper reason. We're anchoring them to specific outcomes and the emotional drivers later on in the call. And so next part of the framework is the pain, the friction, right? What is stopping them? What's holding them back from actually achieving the goals that they set out to do? So when they're going about their stuff, you say, okay, I got you. And you want to have that tonality. You want to have the genuine authenticity, like curiosity, this tonality of understanding. They want to feel heard. And then you can say like, okay, man, well, I guess like, what do you think's actually been holding you back from achieving that 10K a month or going on these vacations or having the ability to go, take care of your family, X, Y, and Z. So everything they just told you, you want to ask what's been holding them back from actually doing that. So you could be like, okay, like what have you tried already, man? Like, have you looked into mentorship? Have you looked into any guidance before? And be like, oh, no, I haven't, like, this is my first time or whatever. I just been taking notes on YouTube, whatever, right? And so what they're doing at this point is they're starting to sell themselves on needing the outside help, right? They're kind of convincing themselves that they can't do this alone, which is why they're on the call. So the next part of the call, right, when they say, oh, well, I just feel like I don't have enough information, I just don't know where to start, maybe like I just feel like I'm missing some sort of guidance or some sort of structure. They'll say something like that, and boom, that's your cue to move forward. And I guess like we've been talking for what, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever now. And to be honest, man, like you sound like someone who's really driven. I can tell you're family focused. I can tell you're serious about this. I guess like why is this important to you now as opposed to putting this off for another 2 months or 3 months? Again, this part right here specifically, it relates to what their specific timeline was, right? So like, oh, how long has this been something they've been wanting to do? 2, 3 months, 8 months, whatever, right? So you want to tie that back to how long they've been putting this off or how long this has been a goal for them. So it's super important to me because like, I guess like there's no time like the present, or I don't want to go to college. And so when they give you these sort of answers, that's what you can hold that accountability to, right? And so what you're trying to do here is build urgency, because without any urgency, they have no reason to go buy whatever you're selling. This isn't like super necessary right here. I just add that sometimes. It depends on the conversation. But then the next part of that is actually understanding what they need from us, right? And so if it's not the mentorship or the guidance, just keep asking in a way that like makes sense, right? Or change up the wordage if you have to, right? They'll usually say, oh, I need some guidance or structure or mentorship. So with all that said, man, like what do you feel you need from us specifically in order to actually help you get to a position to where you are making 10K a month, to where you can go out and retire your family, or take your nephews and nieces to Disneyland or XYZ goal, right? And again, remember, so what we asked in the very beginning, their goals, is super important right here, because that's where we're tying it back to everything they wanted to accomplish right here, right? And they'll say something like, oh, I just feel like I need the structure. Maybe I need some help. I don't know, some guidance, something like that. Just be like, okay, great. And so next part right here is the financial qualifier. We want to understand where they're at financially. Okay, so I'm sure you've guessed, man, like obviously Blank does have opportunities to get you to where you want to go, and offer the guidance and mentorship and blah, 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 whatever. But we only work with people we really feel like we can help, right? And so like to be transparent, man, like it's not free. It's not a charity. You can laugh, whatever. But I guess like just so I know where you're at, man, where would you place yourself on a scale of like 1 to 10 with your availability to actually invest into guidance, into mentorship, right? Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, man, with 1 being like, I don't know, man, I've got like less than $1,000, I'm kind of broke, and 10 being like, oh, I'm Jeff Bezos, like I've got all the money in the world, right? And they'll laugh and they'll say, okay, well, I'd probably be like a 5. Be like, okay, man, awesome, man. And I appreciate your honesty, right? I guess like what does a 5 look like for you specifically? And they'd be like, oh, well, I have like $3,000 right now. I'd be like, okay, man. And like, is that $3,000? Is that like in your bank account? Is that floating around in the air? Like, no, they'd be like, yeah, it's in my bank account. Okay, sweet, man. And so if you feel like the program is a bit more expensive, or like they don't have, like you can gauge the situation, you can kind of make a joke out of it and be like, okay, like awesome. And if you spent that, like that's not gonna leave you on the side of the road eating canned beans, right? Like you'll be okay, haha. Like no, I'll be totally fine, man. It's like awesome. Last thing I want you to do is have to go rob a grandma just so you could pay us. Obviously, like this isn't necessary. It's just like if it makes sense, if it applies. I wouldn't completely recommend using this. It's just a fun joke if you want to add some light, playful stuff, whatever. But the whole goal is to actually get cash on hand, right? So we don't want to just say, okay, you got $3,000, cool, let me put them through, because we don't know if this is $3,000 in savings, in stocks. We want to understand where that money actually is. Next part is getting the commitment, right? And so you don't want to just leave off money and be like, okay, sweet, man, well, you totally qualify, let's book a call. No. You want to end off their commitment, because they might have all the money in the world, but if they're not actually committed to do this, there's nothing you can do. You could be like, okay, and honestly, man, like money's the easiest thing to get help with, right? The one thing we can't help you with is that commitment to actually want to change, right? To actually want to apply all the knowledge and get to a position to where you are making 10K. Again, reminding them of all their goals. So you could say like, so I guess like how committed are you, man, if I can get you a spot to actually apply all the knowledge, all the resources that we can get you to get you to a position to where you do have XYZ dream goal, blah blah blah, whatever. Well, honestly, man, like I can't guarantee you a spot right here, right now. What I can do is set up a meeting with blank business partner, and essentially what he'll do is just run you through the program a bit more in depth, kind of give you an understanding on what it looks like. That way you have a better idea, right? And they'll be like, okay, sweet. So you want to keep it as smooth, as nonchalant as possible. Again, super important, don't forget to slow down and stutter when asking most of your questions. You want to seem genuine. You actually want to be genuine too. Right? This isn't just a script, but it's a frame that you can follow. And I want to clarify that the most important thing here is our delivery. It's not necessarily what we say, but it's how we say it. When you're asking questions, you want to seem a lot more genuine. You want to sound curious, right? And so you can even crinkle your forehead. You're like, okay, man. And I guess like, why is that important to you specifically? It's like slow down on certain words. But anyway, that's the structure that I use. I actually did book, I think it was like 13, 14 calls in one day, and ended up making like $1,000 in commission just over the 3 days that the calls were booked. But yeah, that's the framework. I want to give you a quick takeaway from all of this. I know it was kind of a long video, and if you stuck to the end, you're a G. Just know that. But really, like, you don't need the perfect script. You don't need all the right words to say, all the word tracks, this and that. What matters is how you come across. Remember that, like, being genuine is the most important part. You're here to help people. You're here to guide them to a solution that's actually going to change their life. Thank you for watching. That's about wrapping up for the video. If you want this framework, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram. Send me framework or script or whatever. I'll know. And then, yeah, feel free to ask questions down below in the comments. Subscribe, like, whatever. And yeah, if you want to learn how to make money through just conversations online on the phone, and you feel like this would be something you'd like to get into, feel free to shoot me a DM as well on Instagram, or leave a comment asking for more videos, or what you'd like to learn specifically. And yeah, stay tuned. Have a blessed night, and